Rodeo Drive Avenue, Beverly Hills, 2 p.m. The outside temperature is 34 degrees Celsius, but inside the Velvet Motor showroom, the temperature is always maintained at a freezing 18 degrees. The scent here is a blend of Connolly leather, car wax, and the smell of desire. Here, the cars do not have price tags on their windshields. If you have to ask the price, it means you can't afford them. Julian Thorne stood behind the black marble reception counter, sliding his finger across an iPad Pro. He was checking the list of scheduled clients. 40 years old, wearing a flawlessly tailored navy suit, hair slicked back without a single strand out of place. Julian prided himself on being the gatekeeper of the elite. He had a superpower. With just a 3-second glance, he could estimate the entire outfit a customer was wearing to decide whether he should smile or not. And today, those eyes were about to betray him. The automatic glass doors slid open. The hot, dusty air from the Los Angeles streets rushed in, shattering the sterile stillness of the showroom. A woman walked in. It was Elena. She wore a beige khaki field jacket, the kind full of pockets usually seen on construction engineers, its sleeves slightly frayed and speckled with red dust, straight-cut comfortable jeans, and sneakers that had faded to a muddy gray from dried soil. Her hair was thrown into a messy bun with a cheap plastic clip, a few strands plastered to her temples with sweat. Julian looked up. His radar scanned quickly. Dirty shoes, non-branded clothing, no jewelry, no designer handbag. Conclusion: a lost tourist or someone coming in to ask for the restroom, or worse, a YouTuber trying to film some cheap social experiment. Julian frowned and signaled Leo, the intern standing timidly in the corner, to stay put. He stepped forward himself, not to welcome her, but to block her path. Elena was standing before the store's black jewel, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan Black Badge, worth $450,000. She reached out her hand, intending to touch the glossy black paint. "Don't touch it!" Julian's voice rang out, sharp like clashing metal. He stepped forward, positioning himself between Elena and the car, arms crossed over his chest. "Miss," Julian said, his tone falsely polite, but his eyes full of dismissal. "This paint is very sensitive. The sweat and dirt from your construction site will damage the ceramic coating. The public restroom is down the street next to Starbucks, and if you need free water, we only offer that to customers with appointments." Elena pulled her hand back. She did not look frightened, only slightly surprised. She looked at Julian with calm, deep brown eyes. "I'm not looking for a restroom, and I'm not thirsty," Elena said, her voice slightly hoarse from exhaustion. "I need a car. This car. Is it available for delivery today? My car's AC broke down on the highway, and I need a safe SUV to pick up my daughter before 5 p.m. Julian burst out laughing, a short, dry, mocking laugh. "The car broke, so I need to buy a new one immediately." The story was an old script used by dreamers. Truly wealthy people pre-order their Rolls-Royce 6 months in advance. They don't buy cars like buying vegetables at a market. Delivery today. Julian raised an eyebrow. "Do you even know the credit process, or are you planning to pay with a debit card that has a $500 limit?" "Listen, I'm very busy. I'm waiting for a VIP client, someone who can actually afford this car. You're diluting the atmosphere here." Right at that moment, the door opened again. A young couple walked in. The man wore a t-shirt with a giant Gucci logo, and the woman carried a brand new Louis Vuitton bag. Both were live streaming on their phones as they walked. Julian's expression changed 180 degrees. He shoved Elena aside as if she were invisible and rushed toward the couple with his brightest smile. "Oh, welcome to Velvet Motors. Would you like me to show you our latest sports models?" Elena was left standing alone in the vast, cold showroom. She looked down at her dusty shoes, then at the Cullinan. Leo, the intern, timidly approached and poured her a cup of water into a paper cup. "Here, have a drink. I'm sorry, he's just stressed about his monthly quota," Leo whispered. Elena smiled softly and said, "Thanks," a gentle smile that carried an inner strength. 20 minutes passed. The brand-name couple, after taking 50 Instagram check-in photos and dirtying the leather seat of a Ferrari with the rivets on their jeans, left without buying anything. They were only there to take a look. Julian came back, his smile completely gone. He saw Elena still standing there reading the specification sheet of the Cullinan. Rage flared inside him. He had just wasted time on fake customers, and now he had to deal with this burden. He was under pressure from the company's draw system. He couldn't waste another second. He stomped toward her and yanked the spec sheet out of her hand. "Enough!" Julian shouted. His voice echoed in the silent space, making Leo drop an entire stack of documents in shock. "You're really stubborn, aren't you? Do you think standing here long enough will make the price drop to your construction worker salary? This is Beverly Hills, not a flea market." Elena looked straight into his eyes. The exhaustion on her face vanished, replaced by the sharpness of someone who had once overseen billion-dollar projects. "You judge customers by the labels on their clothes, Julian?" she asked, glancing at the name tag on his suit. "I want to buy this car, full payment right now. Do you want to sell it or not?" "Full payment?" Julian laughed loudly, the sound bitter and mocking. "Are you going to pull $450,000 in cash out of that shabby canvas bag of yours? Stop pretending. Get out. Get out of my showroom immediately before I call security to drag you out for causing a disturbance." Julian raised his arm, pointing directly at the glass door, his face flushed red with anger. And that was the fateful moment. Right behind Julian on the central wall of the showroom, a massive 100-inch LED screen was broadcasting Bloomberg Financial News, currently muted. But the exact second Julian shouted, "Get out!" the screen switched to breaking news. Leo saw it first. His mouth fell open as he fumbled for the remote on the counter, hands trembling, and pressed the button to turn on the sound. The TV's audio filled the air, cutting through Julian's ragged breathing. Breaking news. Vance Energy Corporation has just confirmed a historic $12 billion merger. But today's spotlight belongs to the wife of Chairman Adrian Vance. The name Vance sounded familiar. Julian frowned, slowly turning his head toward the screen, following Leo's horrified gaze. On the ultra-sharp TV screen, a large photo appeared. It was taken at the groundbreaking ceremony of a clean energy project. In the photo was a woman holding a shovel, wearing a beige khaki jacket, straight-cut jeans, her hair in a messy bun, smiling radiantly beside her handsome billionaire husband, Adrian Vance. The TV anchor continued reading, her voice filled with admiration. Mrs. Elena Vance, pictured, a talented landscape architect known for her lifestyle of almost monastic simplicity. This morning, she personally went to the construction site at the Mojave Reserve to oversee progress, declining all transportation privileges. She is nicknamed the Queen of Humility among the silent, ultra-wealthy. Stealth wealth. Julian stood petrified. He looked at the image on the TV, the khaki jacket, the messy bun, that smile. He turned back to the woman standing right in front of him. The same jacket, the same face. Only her eyes were no longer smiling. They were ice cold and sharp like a surgical blade. Julian's arms, still pointing toward the door, slowly dropped, trembling uncontrollably. He felt the ground beneath his feet collapsing. He had just thrown out a woman who owned enough wealth to buy this entire dealership chain 10 times over. The room was so silent that even the hum of the air conditioner could be heard. Julian stuttered, his face turning from red to deathly pale. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. "Mrs. Vance," he managed, forcing a crooked smile. I truly apologize. The lighting here, I didn't recognize. You thought I was poor because I had dust on me?" Elena cut in, her voice not loud, but carrying immense weight. She calmly opened her shabby canvas tote bag, which was actually a limited edition handcrafted piece made from recycled materials, and pulled out a thin wallet. From it, she took out a card, not a regular credit card. It was an American Express Centurion card made from solid black titanium, the most powerful card in the world, reserved for people whose spending levels were beyond imagination. "You were right about one thing, Julian," Elena said, flipping the black card between her fingers. "Time is money, and I've wasted 30 minutes here." Julian hurried toward her, rubbing his hands together obsequiously. Yes, Mrs. Vance. I will personally handle the paperwork right away. I'll apply the highest VE discount." "And no," Elena said coldly. She walked past Julian as if he did not exist. She headed straight toward the corner of the room where Leo was standing rigidly with the cup of water still in his hands. "Young man," Elena called. Leo flinched. "Yes?" "Your name is Leo, right? You are the only person in this glamorous showroom who offered me a cup of water." Elena smiled warmly like the woman on TV. "Do you know how to prepare a sales contract?" "I am just an intern. I'm not allowed to close sales," Leo stammered, glancing anxiously at Julian. Today you are allowed. Anid, only allowed, Elena said, placing the titanium black card into his hand. I'm buying this Cullinan full option, payment immediately, and I want the entire commission for this car. I believe it's about $30,000 to be assigned to you. Julian stood frozen. He had heard the number, $30,000. That was 6 months of his salary. It was the amount he needed to pay off his debts, and it had just slipped out of his hands and flown into the pocket of the intern. All because of a cup of water and his habit of judging people by their appearance. Elena turned back to look at Julian one last time. Julian, she said, her voice gentle yet piercing. Next time, don't look at a customer's shoes to guess their wallet. Look at how they treat people. Wealth is loud, but class whispers. 1 hour later, the gleaming black Rolls-Royce Cullinan was driven out of the showroom, but the one behind the wheel was not a private chauffeur. It was Elena herself. She lowered the window and waved goodbye to Leo. Inside the showroom, behind the thick tempered glass, Julian stood alone, small and fading. On the TV screen behind him, the news had switched to a weather forecast, but the scrolling headline at the bottom still remained. The Vance family commits to sustainable living and honoring true value. The camera point of view pulled farther and farther away, leaving Julian swallowed by the shadows of the glamorous yet cold showroom, while Elena's car blended into the bustling streets of Beverly Hills under the radiant sunlight. Thank you for watching until the very end. If Elena's journey moved you or taught you something about true worth, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories to life every single day. See you in the next chapter.